Hey there, I am here in Barbarino in Italy near Florence, and happened to find my way to a store. It's the Nike store, believe it or not. I'm surprised they have that here, but they do. And looking for some running shoes, and happened to find these ones for 32 euros. Except for right now, there is an extra 30% off. So what I need to do is I'm going to use some mental math to figure out what the price actually is going to be. So what I'm going to do is think that 32, that's 100% of the price, and then 10% of the price would be 320. 10% is 320, so 30% is 3 times that much, so 960. So then if I was trying to work it out, that's just a little bit less than 10, right? So if I take away 960 there, I get 2240, and that's what I would pay. Alright, so there's how you can use some mental math to figure out a price. And the best part is here, in Europe they usually include the tax, so when I go up and pay that 2240, that's what it's going to be, just 2240.
Alright, let's look at a few more examples just to illustrate this idea a little bit further. You can even use this mental math approach to working with percentages you might not expect that you could. Let's say you were trying to work out, I don't know, 56.5% of a number like 1200. Now that doesn't seem like something you can work with mentally, but it's not too difficult. So if we think to work this out, we're always going to start with what 100% is. 100% is the number itself, 1200. And then we got to work our way down to 56.5. So I'm going to say first that 50% is half of that, 600. And then we need to get our 6.5. So first I'm going to get 5 because that's easy to get from 50, right? It's just a tenth of this. 5% is a tenth of 50%, so this is 60. And then I'm going to need another 1%. 1% is just a fifth of this. It's a fifth of 5%. So it is 12. And then we need our half a percent. A half a percent is half of 1%, so it's 6. And so we have all the parts we need there. We have 50%, we have our 6%, and our half. So, therefore, 56 and 1/2% is, all of that together, 678. Note, no one really expects that you do this by keeping track of all these numbers entirely in your head. It's the method and thought process that's important regardless of whether you use paper or not. Let's look at another one. Let's say you were trying to work out what 3.2% of, I don't know, 13,000 was. Now that might not seem like one you can do with mental math, but it is. You always want to start with 100% because that's just the number itself. 100% is 13,000. So 10% has to be a tenth of that, 1,300. 1% has to be a tenth of that, so 130. Now we're going to need 0.1% as well to get this part of it. So I'm also going to put down here that 0.1% is a tenth of that again, so 13. Now for 3.2%, what we need is 3 of those for the 3% and 2 of those for the 0.2%. So I'm going to write down here 3% is 3 of those, 390, and 0.2% is 2 of these things, so 26. Therefore, 3.2% is those two things together, or 416. That's kind of the thought process that you go through to get to this number here without using your calculator. All right, let's look at another one. Let's say you were trying to work out something that was more than 100%. Say you wanted 125% of 84. Now to work this out, we're going to start with the simple fact that 100% is 84. And then probably the next best step is to work out that 50% is half of that, or 42. And then 25% has to be half of that again, so 21. And if we're looking for 125%, then all we need is that and that. So we can put, therefore, 125% is those two things together, 105. All right, so even though I worked one out in the middle here that I didn't use, that's fine. It's just part of my thought process, right? So I can get to this number that I want mentally without using my calculator. All right? So those are just a few examples of working with percentages mentally, whether you're buying a pair of shoes or needing a percentage for something else. You can do it without even touching your calculator.